Nestled within the lush, forested mountains of Malaysia, a location seemingly at odds with the concept of a world-class theme park, lies Genting SkyWorlds. Just an hour's drive from the bustling cityscape of Kuala Lumpur, this park emerges as a modern marvel in themed entertainment, impressing with its ambitious design and attractions. Yet, despite its grandeur, it's not without some noticeable flaws. This unexpected juxtaposition raises two pivotal questions. What inspired the creation of such a prestigious park in this remote mountain setting? And does it truly merit a visit? For ReviewTyme, I'm Luke, and this is our official review of Genting SkyWorlds. Family rides, 9 out of 10. Genting SkyWorlds is populated by 9 distinct lands, several of which are dedicated to what are now Disney properties. Most of the family-friendly attractions are contained within the trio of blue sky animation lands. That's Ice Age, Rio, and Epic. Despite the park's small size, Genting SkyWorlds has managed to fill every nook and cranny with something to ride or enjoy. The park is home to the most trackless dark rides we have ever experienced in a single park, though not all of them utilize the technology to its fullest potential. The standout family experience in the park, and one that does use the trackless technology to its fullest, has to be Ice Age Expedition Thin Ice. The attraction seamlessly combines cutting-edge technology with the beloved characters of the Ice Age franchise. Aboard the dark ride, you'll come face-to-face with impressive animatronics and set pieces, engaging you in the adventure. Epic Voyage to Moonhaven is a detailed and enjoyable boat ride for a film we have absolutely no connection to. Just be aware that you will get absolutely soaked for apparently no reason. Hidden inside the show building is a relatively tame-looking drop that will get you wetter than almost any other ride we've been on. Dropping a bucket of water on our head would have been a comparable experience. The ride itself is a fully immersive offering, blending together animatronics and screens into an engaging experience. Just make sure to bring your poncho. Elsewhere throughout the Blue Sky lands are a number of flat rides, including the Blue Sky Carousel, where you can ride atop your favorite characters, Sid's Rockin' Slide, a really fun and well-presented rock and tug, as well as Hummingbird Flyers, where you will get wet if you don't listen carefully to the instructions, because apparently the Epic Land has a fascination with soaking you. One of the only major disappointments when it comes to family rides is Night at the Museum Midnight Mayhem. It almost feels like at one point, this ride was set to be a whole lot more than it ended up being. After walking through the incredibly well-themed queue, you board a trackless ride vehicle as you scoot through dark rooms with black curtains and screens. The attraction is most similar to Toy Story Midway Mania, with each scene taking place in a different room of the museum. The ride system, though, was clunky and didn't feel anywhere near as satisfying as Toy Story, and the corridors between scenes were simply curtains with a whole lot of nothing to look at. Of course, like many great theme parks, some attractions toe the line between family-friendly and thrill-seekers well, which leads us perfectly into thrill rides, 7 out of 10. While Genting SkyWorlds boasts an impressive collection of thrill rides, each seems to merely flirt with the edge of excitement, offering a tantalizing taste rather than fully satisfying the adrenaline seeker craving. Bordering family and thrills is the trackless dark ride Invasion of the Planet of the Apes. Whilst the attraction isn't all that forceful, it does weave you through many intense scenes filled with explosions and special effects in a spectacularly themed environment. Around the corner is Independence Day Defiance, a flying theater attraction with a twist. Instead of merely soaring over different locations from around the world like in other flying theaters, this attraction has an integrated storyline that takes full advantage of the ride technology to provide a refreshingly unique experience, and even has an impressive looking pre-show, but it was unfortunately not operating during our visit. The park boasts a strong collection of flat rides spread throughout many of the lands. This includes alpha fighter pilots, an intense Zampala air race that hurls you around into disorienting 360-degree spins, Rivet Town rollers, a deceptive spinner ride that has you controlling your own rotation, and, let's face it, you can also torture whoever is unfortunate enough to sit next to you. The final big flat ride was Terraform Tower Challenge, easily one of the best shock and drop towers we've ever done. As the floor descends from underneath you, you're flung into the clouds with impressive force, bouncing several times before you climb to the top of the tower for one final drop. It is worth mentioning that if you're familiar with the park's history, it's clear that back when this was themed to Alien, there was meant to be more here as you descended into the ground, leaving today that reveal slightly underwhelming when no show elements trigger once you go into the depths. The problem with SkyWorld's current thrill lineup is that there is no icing on this delicious cake. Each thrill leaves you wishing for something big, but the offering doesn't provide this. This is made especially more difficult when there are two roller coasters that would fill this void perfectly, currently just sitting there. There is an elephant in the room at Genting SkyWorlds, one that we haven't mentioned yet. Mad Ramp Peak and the now unnamed Alien vs. Predator coaster both exist in a weird space. Both are partially constructed and visible to guests. They were manufactured by Dynamic Attractions, a rather prestigious firm that went into administration after spending on their SFX coaster developments, with the SFX coaster being the very model that Alien vs. Predator was meant to be. The company has since been sold off to a Hong Kong-based firm, but nobody really knows now what happens to these unopened coasters. This is not Genting SkyWorld's fault, but it is their problem, and frankly, it looks bad. Every guest is going to see these two coasters that look fully constructed, but are inaccessible to them. And the park needs to make a decision about the future of these two attractions soon. In our eyes, this should be the biggest priority moving forward. Thankfully, SkyWorlds does have a couple of other coasters to tide guests over in the interim. Samba Gliders in Rio is more bark than bite as you glide above the park at a dizzying height, with nothing between you and the ground. Likewise, over at Ice Age is Acorn Adventure, a well-rounded and expertly themed family coaster that interweaves through the impressive snow-capped mountain of Ice Age, one that wouldn't feel out of place at Disney. Experiences, 7 out of 10. While there isn't a huge quantity of experiences on offer in the park, what they do have appeals well to a wide demographic of guests. The main experience in the park is a lengthy and enjoyable high ropes course called Boot Camp Training. Once harnessed up, you can spend as long as you want scaling the climbing walls, tiptoeing across the high ropes challenges, and zooming down the zipline coaster. Just be aware that you do need a virtual queue to experience this offering. So if it's a busy day, we recommend grabbing this VQ as soon as you enter the park. Also know that it took us around an hour to do everything involved in the high ropes area, which is a rather large portion of the park's 7-hour operating day. Also annoyingly, if you have any loose items, you either need to leave them with someone to watch your stuff, or you need to purchase a locker for around $5. Other than this, the only other experience is a small but enjoyable for kids playground in the Ice Age land, where they can climb, run and slide to their heart's content. Entertainment, 8 out of 10. Genting SkyWorlds boasts an impressive collection of entertainment. You couldn't do a single loop around the park without seeing multiple shows happening around you. This is especially true in lands such as Rio and Ice Age, with consistent indoor and outdoor character shows catered to families. Despite the substantial quantity of entertainment, the quality of each offering does leave a little to be desired. They are by no means bad, but merely uninspired, with many additions such as the opening show and the parade seemingly only existing to tick the box on what is expected from a family-style theme park. Despite this, the lineup is a practical solution for those guests who aren't covered by the park's ride offering, such as toddlers and the elderly. Toddlers aren't exactly known for their critiquing ability either, so the consistent stimulation will be welcome for tired parents. Arguably the biggest and main show in the park had to be Ice Age Time Warp in Sid's Playhouse. We've seen a lot of theme park shows, and this has to be one of the strangest ones we've ever seen. Now, we aren't exactly up to date on the Ice Age lore and storyline, but we were not expecting to see time travel, a multitude of dancing sloths, as well as an arguably impressive Manny animatronic inside. During our visit, the park was also showcasing special limited time entertainment with contracted groups such as a Beatles tribute band. The group played several times throughout the day and with a perfect background to a quick lunchtime meal. Likewise, during the end of day parade, we noticed several other groups we didn't see during our visit, including an acrobatics troupe. So keep your eyes out when visiting, as you never know what you're going to find next. Operations. 7 out of 10. The operations at Genting SkyWorlds are genuinely a mixed bag. While the park managed to maintain consistent movement throughout its queues and kept wait times down throughout the day, there were some decisions that left us scratching our heads. The park was clearly designed for large numbers of guests, but has since reduced the operational capacity of a number of attractions. Rides like Planet of the Apes have the ability to load multiple ride vehicles at once, but during our visit, they were only loading one at a time, and there were often multiple-minute waits before the next vehicle came into the station. While the quietness of the park led to this not being a huge issue, this could easily snowball out of control on an even slightly busier day. The more confusing thing that happened to us, though, was during our visit, a fire alarm went off in what we can decipher was the entire park. At the time, we were queuing for Ice Age Expedition, which is underground, when an alarm suddenly started blaring through the entire building. What proceeded next were 20 minutes of not knowing what to do. Guests just sat down in the queue, announcements over the intercom simply said there was a temporary delay, and finally, when we decided to leave the queue of our own accord, other guests were still being let in to line up. Other than these head scratches, the rest of their operations maintained a level of commendable consistency, especially for a park subjected to such varying weather and climate conditions. Coasters were all running multiple trains, even though the wait times didn't require it, and we didn't once see a queue that we thought was too long for the experience offered at the end of it. But you know what would help our operations here at ReviewTyme? Giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to further support what we do, be sure to check out our Patreon. Theming. 8 out of 10. Exploring the diverse lands of Genting SkyWorlds, you'll find yourself captivated by awe-inspiring vistas that surround you. Each twist and turn reveals intricately detailed facades, blending harmoniously into the next, creating a fluid and captivating visual journey through the park. Frankly, this park's theming ranks among the finest seen outside of Disney and Universal. There is a clear dedication to attention to detail with each inspired element, and careful consideration has gone into ensuring a cohesive experience, even when transitioning between the park's lands. The park uses huge, impressive walls and facades to hide lands from each other, allowing each area to feel fully immersive and engrossing. Even lands dedicated to properties that we and many others have little emotional or nostalgic connection to, such as Epic, manage to stand on their own and convey the necessary story beats and themes through set pieces alone that allowed us to immerse ourselves in its world. This level of thematic detail didn't stop when entering the queues or boarding the rides either. It's clear that this park was designed and built by the best in the business when it comes to thematic specialization. Stepping into the queue for rides like Planet of the Apes caused us to let out an audible whoa due to the sheer scale and quality of the theming elements. Unfortunately, despite this, Genting SkyWorlds is not without its problems. The park's high altitude leaves it exposed to some pretty aggressive weather. A trademark greeny brown slime can be seen across a number of thematic elements in the park, from the snow-covered mountain in Ice Age to the SFX coaster track. We don't envy the park trying to keep things clean with their atmospheric conditions, but we do worry about what this park will look like in a few years' time if it's already starting to look this rough in some areas. Merchandise, 7 out of 10. The merchandise available in the park ranges from the amazing to the absurd. The park is chock full of intellectual properties, and all of them have a range of merchandise available. If your kids like blue sky franchises, there are plenty of options to take their fancy. The strangest selection of items, though, was found in the discounted section, where you could find objects that were still branded with 20th Century Fox World Malaysia, the park's name before its agreement changed with Disney. The items branded with the old park logo also feature franchises no longer seen, such as Alien vs. Predator and Sons of Anarchy. Another one in the strange items for sale was a huge selection of things for Mad Ramp Peak, an attraction that has never opened. A lot of lands had their own stores that were listed on the park map, but were closed or just completely empty on our visit. So your best bet for merchandise is at the gift store right near the main entrance. Affordability, 9 out of 10. This is one of, if not the best value ticketed park we have ever visited. A one-day ticket currently costs around $30 US. This is over 4 times cheaper than the cheapest possible ticket to Disneyland in California, meaning that your entire family can go to Genting for the price of one of you going to Disneyland. The cheap offerings don't finish once in the park though, with food and merchandise also being incredibly affordable. A hot dog and drink combo came in at under $5 US. The trade-off with the cheapness inside is that Genting Highlands isn't the easiest place to get to. You will need to catch a bus or a car to the Awana Skyway station and then board the Skyride, which for a few dollars will take you to atop the mountain where Genting is. This is a large trip to do in one day, and so you're likely to want to stay on site at the top of the mountain, which thankfully can run you as low as only $25 US a night for a room. Atmosphere, 9 out of 10. Despite some very minor problems, we can't fault the atmosphere at Genting SkyWorlds. The park is fresh, utilizes appropriate music in their lands, possesses engaging visual elements around and above you, and a majority of guests seem to be having a great time. Combine all of this with the consistent entertainment offerings and you're in for a great day. Despite all the good we've talked about, the park struggles to draw a crowd and lacks the buzz that comes along with it. We visited on a weekend and we were fearful we'd be battling long lines and dense walkways, but demand for SkyWorlds appears to be low. It's rather unfortunate, considering the park is clearly designed with crowds in mind, featuring expansive traversal areas and dynamic queuing and loading systems within the park's attractions. Connected to the park is the world's largest hotel, a hotel that was booked out during the time of our visit. The wait times in the park never even got above 30 minutes. Genting SkyWorlds could comfortably serve as double or triple what we even saw in the park. Thankfully though, for those actually attending Genting SkyWorlds, you can rest assured that you're in for a good time. Something to note, which is obviously out of SkyWorld's control, is that the altitude lends itself to some wild variations in weather. The park is literally in the clouds, and during our visit, it wasn't uncommon for it to be clear skies and sunny one moment, quickly followed by dense clouds and thunderstorms the next. It's like Orlando but on overdrive, and can lead to some unpredictable weather events. Services, 8 out of 10. The park is packed with services to help you get the most out of your day. The biggest help to ensure you can get all the major attractions done will be the virtual queue system that the park has implemented on its mobile app. You can have 3 virtual queues active at any given time, and if you utilize these well, you shouldn't need to wait long at all for any rides. Just ensure once you've used one that you book another, and most of your day can be spent enjoying yourself rather than standing around waiting. One thing we can't comment on though is how these operate on busier days, as if they sold out early, you might be stuck with no other choice than waiting in lengthy queues. The app also has an incredibly impressive photo system, where by scanning your face, any official photos taken by park photographers will automatically show up on the app, with no codes to put in or QRs to scan. Genting SkyWorlds was one of the only parks on our entire trip that also still had physical park maps. While we know the argument exists to remove these for environmental reasons, we still love our physical maps and hate having to consistently look down at our phones just to figure out where in the park we were and where we should go next. One thing not immediately clear from the map is that the park has multiple entrances and exits, but the big grand main entrance is exclusively for use by guests staying on site at the Genting SkyWorlds Hotel. This means a majority of guests will have to traverse their way through the maze-like Genting Highlands facility in order to make it to the park. Thankfully for us, the park's signage, attractions, and shows were all fully in English, making this park incredibly approachable. There were a few small language barriers when interacting with staff, but that's not the park's or the workers' fault, and everything we needed to do, we were easily able to. Genting SkyWorlds emerges as a standout in the realm of themed entertainment, skillfully overcoming its initial challenges and past tribulations. The park delivers a well-rounded and unforgettable experience, uniquely blending innovative design with engaging attractions. It stands as a testament to the evolving landscape of theme park innovation, and we look forward to seeing how it continues to evolve and inspire. Deciding whether a visit is worthwhile hinges on individual preferences and circumstances. While it may not be a singular draw for a trip to Malaysia, for those already in the vicinity or able to include it as a stopover, it certainly merits consideration, as there is nothing in the world quite like Genting SkyWorlds.